Hello, 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 you gorgeous human beings. It is me, Susie Ashworth, Sunday Times best-selling author of the book Infinite Receiving. It is the 2nd of January, and we are going to say it is day one of 75 Medium because I forgot to share with you yesterday that we were kicking off. So today's the day we are going to do it together, and I've had a really good day today. A really, really good day. I had my first client call of the year, which was spectacular. I feel so grateful to be able to work with the one-to-one clients that I have. I don't have any space right now. I'm on a wait list for my one-to-ones, but I adore every single one of my one-to-one clients, and it was so beautiful to kick the year off with a reflective call, but also real clarity on what are the things that are going to move the needle for this particular client who doesn't actually have her own business, but she works for a startup in a very prestigious role, and it's so exciting for me to see how we get to incorporate all of the energetics, all of the work around the divine feminine in such a hardcore masculine environment that it would be so easy to be pulled off center. So I'm loving the work that I am getting to do with her, and it was amazing to start the year off like that. But the other really fun thing that I did was I went through 3/4 of the Best Year Yet book. I massively recommend that book to you. My mentor, or one of my mentors, Nick James, he put me onto this, and I did it for the first time last year, and there is something so powerful, so cathartic about going through your entire year. And there are 10 questions. You've got the obvious ones: what did you achieve, what were you disappointed in? But then the way that they build on those so that you're able to create essentially like a mini manifesto for your next year. I really, really enjoy the process. And for me, that's a very personal review. So I have my strategic reviews, which is very business orientated. And then this is for me personally. And when I look at what I achieved last year, I would say maybe 50% of the things that I put down on my list, I had ticks by. And, part of the review process is to look at where were you disappointed and what did you learn about why you didn't do certain things. And so that then informs what my manifesto gets to look like for this year. So the more I do this, the better it becomes. So I combined that with also starting Todd Herman's 90-day year, which is very business orientated. And I just really, really enjoyed sitting at my desk for the first time in a work capacity and just putting all of the pieces of the puzzle together for what gets to be a really extraordinary year. And underlying all of that, and some of this was triggered from the conversation that I had this morning, but I was just reminded really powerfully, really potently, that everything that I do this year gets to be underpinned by the pillar of love. And for those of you who haven't read Infinite Receiving, that is one of the 4 pillars that I believe, in my philosophy, is the answer to every single problem that you have is returning back to one of these 4 pillars. So the pillar of greatness, knowing your greatness, seeing the greatness in others. The pillar of support, so really allowing yourself to be supported when you need it. The pillar of love, moving through life with an open heart, being able to forgive, being able to soften. And then the pillar of co-creation, remembering that you are a magical mother trucking human being. And I've been, I've cut TV out, but I am listening to podcasts and I'm listening to things that feel really nourishing to my soul. That's what's been happening in between work today. And I just listened to just a really, really beautiful woman talking about a near-death experience, actually, and how she was shown so clearly that the only thing that changes the essence of the soul is love. And the more that we can love, the more we can create a brighter, more powerful, more potent experience for every single soul on this earth. And that, for me, I don't know, it just touched me, because it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to go into judgment. It's so easy to get distracted by the cash, the clients, the material side of things. And you know, if you've been in my world even for a tiny bit, you know that I have no issue with the material. I love the material, but often we focus our attention on that because we're trying to fill a void. We are trying to make ourselves feel better. We're trying to make ourselves feel enough. And actually, if you can start from a foundation of loving yourself and knowing that you are enough, no matter what handbag you've got, that creates a playing field where you can stretch and have fun and play when it comes to getting the material without it really meaning anything. And so I was just reminded that this is how I want to grow this year. I really want to expand my capacity to receive, but I also want to expand my capacity to give, to love more, to play more, to be more generous, to be softer, to be more forgiving, to stand back from judgment. All of the things that is so easy to forget when you're kind of hit in the face with something that feels unjust, unfair, unnecessary. It's really easy for all of that to go out of the window. So I am reminded and practicing. And I wanted to share with you the kind of 3 guiding principles that I will be using for me personally. We talked about SAC in one of the other videos, but this is for me personally. So planning, prioritizing and executing. That's actually one guideline. What I noticed is the things that I didn't get the results that I wanted to was due to a lack of planning and prioritization, which meant that my execution was poor. So whether that was making sure that I had divided my time up so I could have a significant one-to-one experience with my kids every other month, that didn't happen, and it was due to poor planning, prioritization, which meant that I couldn't execute. And that was just a theme that I noticed with some of the personal things that I wanted to do. It's like, oh, they weren't on the calendar, so I didn't prioritize that. Refinement. For somebody like me who is a creative at heart, and I don't have ADHD, but as an entrepreneur, there are some very similar traits in terms of our ability to hyper focus on one thing and then get distracted by the shiny object over here and then focus our attention over here. And that is very much me. And where I saw the biggest shifts and wins in life and business were in the areas where I went once, I went twice, I went 3 times, I went 5 times, I went 6 times, I went 10 times, or I just kept rinsing and repeating, rinsing and repeating, rinsing and repeating, able to get the data, tweak, refine, and then go again. So refinement is another guiding principle for me in 2026. And then the final one, the boring one, I'm absolutely positive. Like I talked about this in other videos. I mean, I talked about it in the SAT video, but consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Now, I think that I mentioned this yesterday, but to reiterate, I think that we have to be willing to fail, but never quit. And what that looks like from a consistency perspective, like my intention is always to do everything every day, but history tells me that sometimes, due to a lack of planning, prioritization, and execution, sometimes that's challenging. And so, what consistency gets to look like is never missing more than 2 days, never missing a second day in a row. The second day is game over. One day you give yourself grace, the second day you get back on the horse. Now, what is also true, because I really thought about this yesterday, is like, am I trying to give myself a get out clause? And the truth is that for me, what I have noticed is that if I miss one day, that second day is so hard for me to get momentum again. So it is much better for me to stay in momentum. I think that it's much better for most people to stay in momentum. However, sometimes shit happens. So to give yourself the gift of grace beforehand, my belief is that I won't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Whereas the way that it has been up until now is it's like one day, done. Right, we're going to have to start again. And that can sometimes feel demoralising. Yeah, so this is what we are going with. The goal is 75 days straight of 75 medium, which I was like, am I going to change anything? I've slightly amended my diet requirements. So rather than having to get 140 grams of protein in, I've just said no sweets, no crisps. But otherwise everything is exactly the same. So 10 pages of a book a day, 2 workouts, 45 minutes each. They have to be 3 hours apart, a progress picture, and 2 litres of water, no alcohol. So that's what I was doing before. That is what we are doing now. And yeah, day 1 is in the can. I am feeling excited. And yeah, let's have an incredible 2026.